Over the past years, Vietnam has rapidly become a backpacker's heaven, and it's easy to see why. In spring 2025, we were lucky enough to spend 2 unforgettable weeks in this country, known for its rich history, vibrant culture, delicious food, and breathtaking landscapes. Here's how we spent 2 weeks in Vietnam. Our first day started early. We travelled north to Cao Bang, where we experienced Vietnam's natural beauty for the first time. In a lot of places, they sell you traditional gifts that are actually mass-produced in a factory. When we were in Cao Bang province, they actually invited us into their homes whilst they handmade us journals and gave us a serving of happy water, which is a famous Vietnamese alcohol, which is actually corn wine. That night we stayed in a beautiful homestay and discovered a Vietnamese passion. Ban Choc lies right on the border between Vietnam and China, with rafts from each country mingling on the Dahi River that acts as a natural divide between the two countries. So we got back about 10 o'clock last night. It was a long old car journey back from the waterfalls to Hanoi. We're here in the hotel now, but we've got to go because in 2 minutes we're being picked up to go to Ha Long Bay.
Ha Long Bay!
With its islands topped with rainforest decorations and junkyard boats cruising between them, Ha Long Bay is one of Vietnam's icons.
So we are now in Ha Long Bay. We had a bit of a chaotic journey actually, really getting here. Pretty sure because you get a sort of transfer boat onto the cruise liner, and we're pretty sure they put us on the wrong boat because they pulled up to the ship that we're on now, or the not ship but boat or whatever they call it, and we were the only ones on the boat, and everyone else turned up later. And they had their room keys. It sounded like they were sort of being played in because we heard some drumming and some music going on, and we didn't get that, and we didn't have our room keys or our luggage, but it's all worked out absolutely fine, and well, we don't really care because we're here at Ha Long Bay.
So it's about 10 o'clock in the morning now. We're heading back to the shore now, and then when we get back we're off to Ninh Binh.
Ninh Binh!
Ninh Binh has been nicknamed the Ha Long Bay on land, and on reflection it was my favourite place in Vietnam. It's home to some striking mountains rising over rice paddies and holds an important place in Vietnamese history. To learn more about Ninh Binh, we visited Hoa Lu, which served as Vietnam's capital between 968 and 1010 AD, serving for the Dinh, Le and Lai dynasties before it was moved to Hanoi. Some parts of Ninh Binh can only be accessed from the water, and others can only be accessed by a very steep climb, meaning a paddle boat ride and a visit to the Mua Cave viewpoint should be on everyone's itinerary. There are multiple things to do around the cave. I particularly enjoyed the lotus garden, though they weren't out when we were there. I still really enjoyed sitting and admiring the view, particularly with a Vietnamese coffee. Although I did try and get too close a look.
Someone's been for a dip.
Sandwiched in between our two trips to the Mua Cave was a trip to Bird Valley. Bird Valley is a complex that costs 150,000 Vietnamese dong to enter, and the ticket contains access to caves, multiple boat rides, one of which takes you out over the wetlands that attract thousands of birds from about 40 different species. There are a bunch of walking trails and some viewpoints where you can go and sit and watch the animals. Our homestay host advised us to get there about 3 o'clock to make the most of our experience.
To get the contrast on this really well.
Good morning.
We are back at the Lotus Garden. I'm going to try and not fall in this time. So we went up to the Lion Dragon Mountain, got up early. There was nobody up there at all. We did climb up to the mountain, but it was a bit too scary for someone, so we came back down and just enjoyed the view from the viewpoints. Then we sat and we've had a coffee here at the Lotus Garden. Now it's time for breakfast.
Yep.
Oh wait. And then we're off to Hoi An.
Ryan! I know my job.
Hoi An is a well-preserved example of a southeastern trading port that is situated along the Tu Bone River. Its ancient town is cut through with canals. Its buildings reflect a mix of indigenous and foreign influences over the years, and multicoloured lanterns acting as its calling card hang from restaurants and shops and are released down the river to make wishes for good luck, peace, prosperity and happiness. Our first day in Hoi An was my 30th birthday, and for it I wanted to do something luxurious, or at least something that felt luxurious and would come at a high cost if it were in any other part of the world. Over the past 2 decades, tailor-made clothing in Hoi An has exploded in popularity, with more than 400 tailors lining the streets. We chose A-Dong silk and were extremely happy we did. It never felt as though we were being pushed towards anything more expensive, and it really genuinely seemed like they cared about you and your experience. Because of its laid-back atmosphere, Hoi An felt like the best place for us to sample the food and drink that Vietnam is best known for, including egg coffee and salt coffee. Other Vietnamese cuisine included banh mi, the Vietnamese take on French baguette, as well as spring rolls, and in Hoi An, khao lu, which we were taught to make at one of the many cooking classes you can find in Hoi An. Ours also included lantern making and a trip in a bamboo basket boat. The bamboo basket boat started slowly, calm and serene, drifting through the bed of reeds, before on our last night, we flew into Hanoi, Vietnam's capital. When I picture an Asian city, I picture Hanoi. The streets are alive with motorbikes, food vendors, and traditional markets. Amongst the chaos, there are still pockets of quiet, like Quan Kiem Lake, that we visited each night. Another unique attraction in Hanoi is Train Street, a narrow alley where trains pass mere inches from locals' homes and cafes. The street's recent popularity has led to the government periodically restricting access, and many cafes have been shut down or have their operations limited. However, it is still possible to visit. It should just be done cautiously and respectfully. On our last night, we had time for one more piece of madness before we went. Water puppetry is a traditional Vietnamese art form that dates back to the 11th century, where villagers would perform puppetry over flooded rice fields. You will get to experience traditional live music, while the puppets perform scenes of Vietnamese folklore, rural life, legends and festivals. It is a really fun and unique experience, and well worth the price that we paid for the tickets. It took me 9 years to finally visit Vietnam after first finding out about it, and I had built it up so much in my head. There is such a mix of entertainment, world-class food, culture, and stunning scenery. It is so easy to see why it is such a bucket list country for so many people, and it absolutely lives up to the hype.
Oh yeah,